Good afternoon, everyone. Almost 5 o'clock on Saturday, March 21st here. Had to wait for qualifying to get over and get everything updated real quick before I could jump on. So, a little bit late getting here with the Oriley's Auto Parts Series preview because it kicks off here in about 30 minutes. But we'll run through it real quick. This race here, another race where you've got Cup Series drivers dropping down. I fully expect one of them to, I don't want to say dominate, but for lack of a better word, dominate. Kyle Larson won the pole, Christopher Bell second. I'd look for one of those two to win this. Last night we had the Truck Series race. Give a real quick on that one. Ross Chastain looked like he had it in the bag, but apparently Corey Heim, who was last year's Truck Series champion, won 12 races in the Truck Series, apparently made a pit stop. And when he did on the last pit stop, changed to scuff tires, which are tires they've used for qualifying. And apparently nobody really paid attention to that. And so his tires were about 3 to 5 laps better than Chastain's, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. But on this track, let me tell you, if you watch these races this weekend, you'll see tires are drastic in this. They put him on. He restarted like 8th or 9th in the overtime, which is green, white, checkered. So you come to the green, you go around, you hit the white, and then it's the checkered. If the leader touches or gets the white flag, then the next flag will end the race. If they get a caution before the white flag, they re-rack and they do it again, and they do it for unlimited attempts like that, as long as the caution happens before the driver gets the white flag, which means you'll hear them say they're waving the white flag. That doesn't mean anything unless the driver catches the start-finish line. So here nor there on that. But that didn't come into play last night. They did do 2 overtimes. The first overtime, there was a wreck right off the restart. So they re-racked and did it again. Well, he had, like I said, had 4 or 5, whatever, 3, 4, 5 lap fresher tires. And literally, if you just go watch the end of that race, which was a really good race the whole night, so I'd suggest watching the whole thing. He just bolts to the bottom. And then, you think Chastain's got about 4 or 5 truck lead going into turn 3. And you can see him just coming down the back stretch, and he just cuts it to the left and just flies past Chastain. And in the post race interview, Chastain even mentioned he's like, I didn't know he was on fresher tires, or I wouldn't have left the bottom open. So somebody missed them doing that, which is weird because nothing really gets missed in this sport by other teams, but it was last night. So hats off to Corey Heim. Really like that kid or guy. Really, really good driver. The dude just knows his way around, especially that Truck Series. How he doesn't have a full-time ride in another series, I don't know. Anybody who doesn't try to pick that kid up next year is not doing their due diligence, in my opinion. So, but that's a look at the Truck Series, Draftsman Truck Series. We'll jump in. Like I mentioned on the Oriley Series, Larson, Bell, Allgaier, he's always in the mix. If it's not going to be the other Cup Series guy dropping down is Ross Chastain starting 9th. Don't think we have any more dropping down. Let me scroll through real quick. No, I don't see any more Cup Series guys starting in this one. So all 3 of them that drop down for this race are 1, 2, and 9. I fully expect one of them to win it. My money would probably be on Christopher Bell. He is really good at these tracks. Toyota's really good at these tracks too. But if it's not going to be any of the Cup Series guys, you got to lean Justin Allgaier. Carson Kvapil runs off 3rd. You got to look out for that guy because his crew chief is Rodney Childers, who used to crew chief Kevin Harvick. And I'm not saying that because Harvick was my favorite driver and Childers was his crew chief. I'm saying that because Rodney knows how to take care of the tires. And that's what it's going to take at this race. Who can manage their tires the best? But you want to see some excitement. You're going to see a lot of spins, a lot of flat tires, stuff like that. We'll get more into that for the Cup Series. But I'm just going to run through the top 10 starters for this before they get cranked up, because I get going here in about 20 minutes. Jesse Love is starting 10th with Richard Childress Racing. Ross Chastain is 9th, as I mentioned, driving for Junior Motorsports. Brandon Jones for Joe Gibbs. William Sawalich for Joe Gibbs rolls off 7th. Sam Mayer, running for Haas Factory Team, is 6th. Parker Retzloff, driving for Viking Motorsports, is 5th. Then you got Allgaier and Kvapil, as I mentioned, 4th and 3rd for Junior Motorsports. Kyle Larson is the pole leader. Christopher Bell is 2nd for Joe Gibbs, and Christopher Bell is driving for JR Motorsports also. They have an alliance with Chevy, of course, but they're also kind of just open cars, and they have them filled for these just random drivers that want to jump in. That's really what you're looking at. Like I said, take one of the Cup Series guys, or Justin Allgaier would be another pick I'd have for this race. But going to be exciting. There's a lot of twists and turns at this track. A lot of things happen real fast. So as we take a break from that, we're going to jump in and start looking ahead to tomorrow afternoon's race over at Darlington, South Carolina. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern on FS1. And if you watched the preview episode, you heard me mention about this track being unique and it's shaped like an egg. It's brutal on tires. It's a weird shape. The best way around this track is next to the wall. You got to just put it up there. And you're going to wind up kissing the wall a few times. I mean, it's called the Darlington Stripe. I mentioned all this in my preview episode. But looking ahead to the race, the past 3 winners here have been Chase Briscoe. He did it actually 2 years ago. Yeah, before the last year Stewart Haas Racing was in effect. He got their last win in in 2023, but he got the last win for Stewart Haas Racing there, which was really cool to see. Held off Kyle Busch at the end. Then he turned around, and last year Denny Hamlin won the spring race, and Chase Briscoe won the fall race. So those two are now teammates. The winners of the previous 3 races are our teammates. So not that it really says a whole lot. I mean, because Briscoe won the last one before. He was in a Ford. So, excuse me. He had to, he's going to have his work cut out for him in this race. If you want to look at the starting lineup real quick, there's going to be 37 cars. So we have 1 open car. It's the entry out of the Garage 66. Just kind of pick random races and run one. That's going to be Timmy Hill. No relation to Austin Hill, I don't believe, of the Oriley series. You got Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, 35th, Cody Ware, 34th. Shane Van Gisbergen, 33rd, Connor Zillich, Todd Gilliland, and Noah Gregson round out the bottom 30, I guess, the last up to 30th position. Now you get into some names starting in this area between 29 and 20 that kind of bad qualifying runs, but we'll see how it plays out for the race. So starting in 29th position is going to be Joey Logano, followed by Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger, my driver Josh Berry, Ross Chastain, Eric Jones, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek, and Michael McDowell. there's some heavy hitters coming from the back. So this is going to make this extremely interesting tomorrow. And how fast can they get there? And, can they get there? So we're going to keep an eye on that. But you'll find out in my fantasy picks what I think about their odds to make it from the back to the front when we get into that here in a few minutes. Rolling off 19th would be Zane Smith, Ricky Stenhouse, Ryan Preece, Carson Hocevar, Justin Allgaier, Riley Herbst, William Byron, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, and Austin Dillon is your 10th starter. Now, we'll mention Austin Dillon again. He's with Richard Childress Racing. Denny Hamlin, last week's winner, rolls off 9th for Joe Gibbs. Kyle Busch rolls off 8th for Richard Childress Racing. I mentioned Kyle Busch was close to winning this a couple years ago. 7th rolls off Ryan Blaney, the highest Team Penske qualifier. Chris Buescher and Brad Keselowski roll off 6th and 5th for RFK Racing. Kyle Larson is 4th in this series. Chase Elliott is 3rd. Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick, the teammates from 2311, occupy the front row with Tyler Reddick capturing the pole. That whole team, 2311 Racing, has been on it this year. They've got something going on there. But I'm really excited for the RFK cars of Keselowski, Chris Buescher, and then the other one of Ryan Preece. I'm really, really excited for their paint schemes this weekend. If you watch the NASCAR for Beginners series I put out, there's one episode where we talk about the tragedies of the offseason, where stuff like Denny Hamlin losing his dad in a house fire, and then a plane crash that claimed the lives of Greg Biffle, his wife, daughters, and some other people on board a plane that he owned. Well, this weekend, Darlington is normally known as Throwback Weekend. Sometimes a lot of drivers go back to throwback paint scheme from the past to honor previous cars or drivers. Well, this weekend, RFK is doing all Greg Biffle paint schemes. So I'm really, really excited for that. Really good tribute for just, he was a great man. If you go back and watch the episode, you'll see what I thought about him. But looking forward to that. I'd like to see one of those cars in victory lane. Doesn't hurt that I'm a Ford guy and they drive Fords, but we're gonna see what they can pull off. So looking at it, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to go against the Toyotas here of Reddick and Wallace. But again, this doesn't mean anything where you call it. It does at the beginning. It looks good, but on a track like this that just chews tires up and spits them out, you can go into the first corner and have a tire lose grip for a second, and you're spinning it into the wall on the first lap. Trust me, I saw it a couple of years ago with Josh Berry. They qualified, I want to say second or third, and it was a playoff race back then. And he goes into the first corner, and they have one part of the car 64 1/1000ths of an inch too low. Hits a bump, car loses control first lap, and he slams the wall out of the race. First lap. Didn't even make the first whole lap, just hit the first corner. Turn 2, actually. So, yeah, doesn't really mean a lot, but as good as those cars have been all year, I'd be hard pressed to pick against them. But I mean, again, you got to manage your tires. You can run hard early and get a huge 2-second lead over the field, but you've used your tires up and they're saving their tires, and all of a sudden they're a second quicker a lap than you. So in 2 laps, they've done caught you and passed you probably. So you got to watch that. I mean, the names coming from the back, like I mentioned, in the 20-ish range from 22 down to 29. I mean, those are veterans. Even a Josh Berry in 26th, he's grew up on these short tracks like this. So he knows how to manage his tires. It wouldn't be surprising to see him come forward at some point. And, and, strategy will play into it. When do the cautions fall? What do you do? Do almost every caution or whatever stoppage for any point, you're coming to pit road and getting floor tires. They're just that important. So, with that being said, we will go ahead and jump into our fantasy predictions. Share my screen with y'all here. So we'll jump in here. We go look at the fantasy. Go look at this one. Play now. Okay, here's last week. Last week I had a pretty good week. I was pretty impressed with that. He's coming from the back, but I'm leaving Christopher Bell in. I just think he's that good here. Denny Hamlin, there's no way I'm pulling him out. Ty Gibbs, I'm probably going to pull out, and I'm going to swap him out with Bubba Wallace. William Byron, I'm going to pull out. And I'm going to throw what Denny Hamlin's already in there. I'm going to throw Kyle Busch in there, even though I've already used him a couple times. That team's been struggling, but this is a track Kyle really knows really, really well. Always trust a crafty veteran on the track like this. Not going to take Zane Smith here, but I will take Brad Keselowski. And I'm going to pull Daniel Suarez out of my garage. And we're going to throw in, let's find a 10 for 10 driver, which is still Daniel Suarez because I didn't use him. Let's throw in, who's a good sleeper pick that I could use if I need some points? Nobody that low that I'd like. Let's go with, let's go with Austin Dillon. In our head-to-head matchups, we're going to go, I'm going Hamlin here. This is a no-brainer. This one's a little tougher because Suarez is starting faster, but Chastain knows how to get around. Plus, he's racing, and he raced in the Truck Series, and he's racing today. Different vehicles, but they still show you how to get around. There we go. I'm going to take Chase Elliott, even though I said Christopher Bell's in my starting. I'm going to take Elliott here. And then I'm going to take Brad Keselowski here. And then my lineup is set. So I know for sure I got 10 points for the fantasy lineup, and I can get another 4 down here. I don't even look at this, but feel free to if you're setting a fantasy team. Denny Hamlin, I mentioned Chase Briscoe won 2 of the last 3 races. I mentioned Joey Logano, just, not real good. Starting 29th also really hurts. Good odds if you want to take a flyer on somebody, if gambling is your thing, but gamble at your own risk, please. Chase Elliott's not good here, but he's starting 3rd, and I just think that he'll be fine. But then Bubba Wallace is your sleeper pick, who I wind up putting in. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So that's my fantasy lineup. Let's go back over there real quick. Let's go here. We'll actually play around, and we'll go to the wrong button. We'll go edit this one real quick. My one I use for training when people want to learn more about it. So this one I don't really worry about too much. But we're going to leave Hamlin, Wallace. I'm going to pull Preece. I'm going to put Keselowski. I'm actually going to put Buscher. We'll put, who else do I have 10 for 10? Well, let's throw Austin Dillon in this one. And then in our garage, we'll throw Carson Hocevar. Why not? Like I said, this one I'm not too worried about. This is just kind of one I used to play around with for training purposes for people that want to see how to do it and go through it. So that's set. We go back to the Fantasy Hub. Go to our 36 for 36, where again, this is like a streak builder. You select one driver per race and kind of see how many points you can get. You can see I've got 80 points, 28,541, but you can fly up this ranking pretty quick because a lot of people have been using drivers like already that have won. So they can't use them anymore. So for Darlington, we're going to scroll down. And let's see, have I used... I don't think I've used Denny Hamlin yet. So we're going to go ahead and throw Denny Hamlin in there. So anybody that used Denny Hamlin last week and he won, you know, they can't use him this week, and he's really good at this track. So I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin in this one. And if you want to come over here and click on your news, you can kind of look, give you all your stuff you need to know. Good place to look to see if any cars are going to be penalized. You can see right here, Carson Hocevar just scraped the wall in qualifying. So and those are things just going to help. But I didn't see anything for, well, let's see. I missed it right here. So 3 teams failed inspection at Darlington. So their car chiefs are ejected, and they should lose pit stall selection. Yep, they lose the ability to choose the pit stall for the race. So somebody like a Chase Elliott, which the cars that were penalized that didn't pass were the number 9 Hendrick car of Chase Elliott, the 17 of Chris Buescher, and the 66 garage entry that qualified last. So they would have had last pit selection anyway. Doesn't really matter for them. But somebody like Chase Elliott, who qualified 3rd and would have picked after the 2 2311 cars, did a great pit stall for him, now has to pick 3rd to last. So he's going to have kind of whatever. That can have a huge effect in a race if you get pinned in on Darlington. And let me tell y'all, Darlington is not an easy track to get to pit road on. I'm assuming it's going to be the same rules for all series. But I know in the truck series, when you're going around turn 3, when you come off the Boeing backstretch, there's a big white spot. The walls look like candy canes, by the way. They're red and white striped. But when you get to turn 3, there's a wide area of white that says Darlington Raceway. The D and the R are capitalized. In the truck series, they were informed that they can't turn down for pit road until they get to the capital D. So that's a late turn in to get to pit road. Now, and if that's the case in the Cup series, you need to keep an eye on that. I didn't see that it was, but it doesn't mean it isn't. Because they told them they had to stay in the outside lane closest to the wall, or the next lane in from the wall, and then come to pit road in the truck series. I don't know if they're going to do that in the Cup series, because I mean, you're talking about cutting a lane and a half of traffic at full speed. If that's the case, watch pit stops, because if they're under green, it's going to be crazy. You're probably going to have cars spinning out, cars wrecking, coming to pit road, cars not realizing a guy's going to pit road and winds up running into the back of them. I've seen that happen numerous times. You'll see a lot of drivers coming down if they're coming to pit. If they are doing that same rule, you'll see a lot of hands out the window. And that's the signal to the guy behind that, hey, I'm going to be cutting left for pit road. So you're going to have to do like a cross move, or you're going to have to slow down, which is then going to kill your speed for the next lap. So kind of a catch-22 there. But that's just kind of one thing I'm really interested to watch. That and the tire wear in this race. Darlington is a very exciting race, no matter what. It's not called the track Too Tough to Tame, the Lady in Black, and getting a Darlington. It's not called these things because it's fun and easy to drive around. It's brutal. It's hard. Get the driver. This is the track the drivers love. You've got the softer tire that they raced last year, but you've increased horsepower from 670 to 750. A lot easier to spin the tires. A lot easier to, just lose control. Lot more. That's why I think you saw some of the other cars that are really good on these kind of tracks in the back in qualifying. Is I think a lot of people just took qualifying as, look, let me get what I can, but I need to make sure I'm managing my tires. So And some of them may have done it on purpose, believe it or not, because it may come down if you go through enough sets of tires that you need to put your qualifying scuffs on. But if you didn't go as hard as other people, your qualifying scuffs are actually going to be in better shape than their qualifying scuffs. So if it came down to that and you took it easy and they didn't, you'll have just a fraction better tires, which, hey, a fraction better tires on a track like this is a big difference. I explained to y'all what 3 or 4 lap pressure tires did for Corey Heim. He drove from 9th to 1st in 3 laps. That tells you all you need to know about how important tires are. So we'll go back over here to this. Look at this screen real quick. So no other real penalties in this. We go look at our fan rewards page like we like to look at before every race just to check on, see how we're doing points wise. Oh, we're sitting with 1,800 points. So that'll at least go up. It'll go up 50 here in a few minutes when I check into the Oriley Auto Parts race. It'll go up 50 tomorrow for check-in to the Cup Series race. And it'll go up at least another 10 for the fantasy lineup being set. So you're looking at least a minimum of 110 points. And I checked in last night, so 50 points there. So 160 points in a weekend. That's pretty good stuff. See if there's anything exciting we can get with our points. I wouldn't trade them in yet, but let's see what we can get. You can put them in a sweepstakes. Let's see, not quite at the level for that yet. But look, where else can you get some nice sunglasses for 500 points? Look at that. You want a computer backpack? Tickets. Again, this is going to be like Oriley stuff. O'Reilly Auto Parts. But look, I'm almost here for the Craftsman Truck Series tickets to Michigan. 3,000 for here. You would have tickets for some of these by the time that if you had been doing this since the beginning and trying to earn every point you can, you'd be close to getting free tickets to this year in Michigan. Just, one of those things, but you can get merchandise, gift cards, sweepstakes. The sweepstakes cost you 50 points per entry. So then autograph merchandise. You got all this stuff. Beach, you want a golf towel? Some socks. These are just, there's all kinds of items out here. Look, a fanny pack. Everybody loves a good fanny pack. Barbecue set, seat cushion, socks. Just stuff. And again, it's free. So a bottle opener, because every NASCAR fan needs a bottle opener. Most of them, we all drink cans. So those are for the fancy NASCAR fans that came over from Formula One. So other than that, that's just kind of what you get for your rewards and stuff. It's free. It's easy. Just takes a couple seconds. Like my wife's going to check into her. I just mentioned checking into the race and she popped on. She's already done. So, if you get into it and you get your significant other an app, if y'all enjoyed it, if you go to a race and you enjoyed it, you both get the app. You're looking at, you could get 4 tickets to a race and take a couple of friends, to a race for free. Now you may not sit together because your 2 tickets will be together and their 2, but you could be at the race together, hang out after, before, whatever, and it could be something that you turn into a yearly event. Maybe y'all like, hey, look, let's get 2 tickets to this race, and you just make it an event and travel around. So I'm really hoping that they put the Cup Series tickets back on the rewards catalog. I don't know. They're not this year yet. There haven't been any yet this year. So I'm hoping they put them back, but I wouldn't blame NASCAR if they kind of didn't, and they give you more of an option. Maybe they're trying to push tickets to the Oriley Series to get those stands full. stuff like that. So keep an eye on it. You never know. It changes all the time, the items there. So just keep up to date. Keep looking at it when you want. Worst case last year, I just honestly used my points on one of the sweepstakes just because we had some what we expected to be prior commitments lined up for this year that fell through. So we just decided let's go to a race. And so we did. But by then the tickets were gone. But we're going to the Martinsville race next weekend in Martinsville, Virginia. So anybody that watches this that's in Martinsville, Virginia, if you wanted to meet up before the race, leave a comment and we can work something out. Or tell us where to eat in Martinsville. We'll be in Charlotte Saturday before the race. My loving wife bought me a ride along in a Dodge Hellcat on the Charlotte Motor Speedway, so that's what we'll be doing Saturday. Sunday we'll drive up Saturday evening up to Martinsville, and we're going to be staying about half a mile, quarter mile from the racetrack, so we're just going to stay at our hotel and walk. But if anybody's in Martinsville, Virginia that sees this and can list me some places to eat, or wants to meet up before the race and hang out and get some questions at, we can go from there. Other than that, I'm going to jump off and go watch this Oriley's race and get ready for my beloved Texas A&M Aggies to play University of Houston in basketball tonight. So other than that, everybody have a good evening. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the little notification bell for all the channels scrolling at the bottom. We've got content going on all of it. We have a website, WTPSportsDudes.com, that's got info about all the hosts you'll see on these channels. We've got a Patreon page. I have a Patreon page, SEC Sean, same name as here. I'm also on TikTok under the same name. Patreon has content I upload almost daily. It's also linked to the Spotify for NASCAR talks if you search podcasts on Spotify. And there's membership levels there. Starts at the ARCA series level for $1. Don't know what happened to my screen here, but my camera went crazy. But no big deal. I turned pink for some reason. But my Patreon page has membership tier levels, and everything that I post from my ride along and some of the behind the scenes stuff in Martinsville is going to be in the paid access only. So other than that, I'm going to jump off of here before I turn fully pink, and we will catch up with y'all tomorrow. I believe they're doing a show at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning on the channel. Don't know, probably talking a lot of college basketball. So other than that, y'all have a good evening, and we will talk to y'all next time.
Low post, mid post, high post, post game.